taking over games and nobody stands a chance. Let me guess, it's about China.
I need you guys to make sure that I'm not losing my mind, that I'm not seeing
Mm-hmm.
things, because from my perspective, it looks like all the games the players are the most excited for, the ones that they're enjoying the most, the ones that they're talking about the most, the games that have been the most successful outside of a couple of outliers. I'm not saying that it's all of them, but they're all coming from the East.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, Pal World, Tears of the Kingdom, Armored Core 6, Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, Marvel Rivals, Final Fantasy, and I already know that I'm going to enjoy
Space Marine 2? Isn't that
Stellar Blade once it releases?
Let me think. Can I think of any others? I probably could. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot, especially the ones that are coming out.
PC.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that that I'm going to enjoy Stellar Blade, Resident Evil, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, Marvel Rivals, Final Fantasy, and I already know that I'm going to enjoy Stellar Blade once it releases.
Let me think. Can I think of any others?
Yeah, Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Monster Hunter, yes, Marvel Rivals, Black Desert Online. Ce mai este? No, whatever.
I probably could. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot, especially the ones that are coming out.
PC.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that all Eastern games are great and all Western games are bad. No, there's definitely there's a handful of good games.
No, but there is a huge discrepancy of how many shitty games the West has and how many good games the Asian have. So, suck on that, Legendary.
In the West, believe me, I put 400 hours into Baldur's Gate 3. But with that said, the list is very short on the Western side of things. Yeah, and I think this is something that the vast majority of the industry doesn't want to discuss, especially games media, because, well, it means that they're losing relevance.
Of course.
Western games are losing relevance.
This is the reason. You're absolutely right. Media doesn't want to acknowledge that Chinese game studios and overseas game studios in general are gaining momentum and catching up in
Then they are not journalists. Sorry.
the market, because that diminishes their cultural relevance. Because their cultural relevance is only important inside of the scope of that individual culture.
Oh.
Extension, Western media then loses its relevance as well. There's been a cultural shift over the years where players are not being prioritized.
Wait a minute. So if you're losing relevance over a game that sucks, and you're not covering Asian games that are successful because you're losing relevance, why would you lose relevance as a journalist talking about new games that are successful regardless of the origin? Isn't that your job as a journalist, to review games that are good and games that are bad? Why do you care if there are homosexuals or not in the game? Why do you care if the game is from some tranny director, writer, or whatever the fuck? Why do you care about that? The game itself, it doesn't matter where it's from. I bet that most people that play Street Fighter 1 in 89 or in 92, they had no idea it's from Japan. They said, "Wow, I played the game at the arcade. It was like, Hadouken and stuff."
Prioritized, but these Eastern studios are prioritizing those audiences, and as a result, because that cultural shift doesn't happen over there, well, they're taking advantage of a situation, and they are skyrocketing in popularity.
No, they're not taking advantage of the situation. They are indirectly taking advantage, because everything the West did was replaced by something Chinese, Asian, I don't know, Japanese or Korean. And it's not because players said, "Oh, you know what, fuck the West and we're gonna play Japanese games." No, it's because they are good. And if the West makes a good game, everybody will celebrate it, including the Chinese and the Japanese and the Koreans. But if the game sucks, then suddenly the gamers, we are at fault. We suck ass because we didn't buy games that we don't like to support people that don't work. Fuck off.
They're gaining more players, they're gaining more influence, and more importantly, they're gaining more money, which makes them a major threat to the rest of the industry.
There's also another component too about this, is that a lot of places overseas have much lower development costs because different costs over there are much lower. Like, for example, Black Myth Wukong cost under $100 million to make, much under $100 million to make. If that same game was made here in America, it probably would have doubled that number.
About heading towards a world that has a heck of a lot more Black Myths and Marvel Rivals and a lot less Dragon Age the Veilguard and Concords. That's not good for a lot of people in this industry.
And I actually even think that this problem isn't about the West as a macro group. I think it's actually about America. It's American games are the ones that are garbage.
No, you know what? You know what the problem is? I think that the problem lies in the people, in the individuals themselves. Because if you hire people that are activists, that are people that don't care about games, they don't know what the fuck they're doing when they're playing a game, they don't enjoy games because I've been playing games for about 30 years now. I'm 40 years old. So the thing is, if you play a game that doesn't tell you anything, it's just there, to be sold, you know, it's just like Velgar that doesn't have any relevance with the other Dragon Age games. You notice as a gamer, depends on your of course awareness. You realize as a gamer that this game was not made by somebody who enjoys playing games, not made by somebody that knows how to make interesting mechanics or interesting combat or satisfying combat. So it's just made to have a, you know, take the Dragon Age name, put it on some crap, because you know that it will get traction because of the name. And then suddenly we got this mixture of veteran developers who most likely left the studio, and then you get these DEI hires that have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and they just inject their, you know, their childhood trauma into it and say, you know what, I'm too traumatized to make a game that's not about me. And if you still wonder why that, you know, so I'm non-binary scene from Velgard, that's most cringe shit I've seen in my life in a video game, that is actually a reflection of Corinne Bush's trauma with, you know, cutting off his penis and regretting it.
Because Baldur's Gate 3, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, those games were great, and they were Western games. It's American brain rot.
I'll tell you that right now because, well, as these Eastern studios continue to be successful, as they're able to produce way more games than a lot of these Western studios because of the financial position many of them are in, well, their investors are going to turn around and ask them, why aren't you doing that?
Yeah.
They're going to say, well, we can't. But before we get into that, Monster Hunter Wilds is right around the corner, and with it is coming some of the craziest PC specs I've ever seen required. So you guys could use today's sponsor, Starforge. I've been loving my new PC.
Oh my god, Asmon.
Which is incredibly quiet, sleek, and lightning fast. It's a way better build than I could do myself.
590 and 580. Where did you get those, and how much does it cost?
But they've got something for everyone.
By the way, if you want to buy one of the 1590 PCs, you have to be there like the moment, because apparently they're still selling out super fucking fast.
Why don't you donate one, you rich fuck?
Ryzen PCs, which are great for everyday.
Oh my god, he has a dragon on the case. All I need is an anime waifu, and it's
gamer, much more affordable and just great for a first-time user or even experienced players. You can kick it up a notch. Go into their Navigator series.
Man,
packed with next-gen components.
That actually looks pretty good.
It's giving you some truly high-end performance, but if you're a content creator or enthusiast like,
oh my god,
gen components giving you some
is this a celebration for AC Shadows by Asmon?
Truly high-end performance, but if you're a content creator or enthusiast like me, well, their Voyager series has everything that you're going to need. Starforge has a ton of incredible customization options with PCs inspired by popular games like Terraria and old school RuneScape, anime like Freeren, and even their own original designs.
Oh my god, that's pretty cool. $2,849 dollars. What, the case? Beyond Journeys into widely beloved series that have been taken over by Storm in recent years are commercial with includes limited edition PC, acrylic instances.
And if you really want to customize, they got limited run.
Dragonblight, Excalibur 35. Oh my god, this is so cool. $2,000.
Designs, plate lights, desk mats, and even posters to match your setup.
That's pretty crazy.
Hoppa. Left side and right side. Interesting. Is that Raiden? No, it's not Raiden Shogun.
Crazy, hand-built in Austin with premium quality and attention to detail. Plus a 2-year parts.
Oh my god, it's 02 from Darling in the Franxx. Fuck.
And labor warranty. Starforge systems, premium quality, white glove service, and all of it at an accessible price point. Follow the link in the pinned comment
Look at him.
or the
Look how proud he is. Holy shit, bro. Even the cockroaches cheer in the back.
description below and check out Starforge systems and find the PC of your dreams. There is a clear divide.
So true.
I wonder if you would have skipped if it was another ad.
Absolute 100%.
Yeah, I thought so.
Completely agree.
Between games made in the East and those made in the West. And I found myself enjoying more Eastern games more and more. And I know that I'm not alone. You don't have to look that hard to see the difference. Eastern games are thriving while Western titles are drowning in complaints, controversy.
The worst thing about Western games and American games is the dialogue in the games. The dialogue is where the real weakness shines through. The gameplay can sometimes be comparable, but the dialogue is just painful.
Creative stagnation. These studios and publishers get it. Culturally, they get it. They understand what players want, and they're delivering it without compromise. I boot up Monster Hunter, Black Myth Wukong.
I think it really says a lot if you have an Eastern developer that somehow understands American players better than American developers do, right? I mean, this is pretty fucking.
They don't want to understand American players. They want to understand freaks that cut off their dicks to be women and dress up like women and come to work with fully grown men dressed like women.
Sad. It's HR dialogue? Yes, it is.
16, and it feels like peak is the only thing that they care about. They want.
Why is everybody getting fucked in the Monster Hunter trailer? Should I be? I played the beta. It was fucking easy. I soloed that stupid dragon with the hammer. Why is every scene in Wilds beyond the beta gameplay? Obviously, this was not in the beta. It's like just players getting deleted, hunters getting completely obliterated by these monsters. I mean, it's gonna be hard, of course.
They want you to experience something that is unforgettable. They want you to be blown away by the scale, spectacle, and raw excitement. I'm tracking down monsters, and I'm fighting them and crafting armor out of their bones.
Yeah,
and
so basically Monster Hunter is about monsters and hunting them, and it's not some sort of veiled critique on climate change or some sort of government, opinion or
some guy cutting off his penis.
Anything like that. It's just simply a very good video game that's about monsters. I know, guys, I know.
Developers painstakingly research ecology to make sure that they can create a realistic ecosystem that feels alive, while at the exact same time, they're not making that their only priority. They're also delivering stylized combat that you'd only find in anime. I'm walking through China's cultural history, experiencing one of the oldest stories.
Well, you'd also
what
find
the fuck was that?
They're also delivering stylized combat that you'd only find in anime.
Stylized combat you only find in anime. Yeah.
I'm walking through China's culture.
Okay, that's a lot of spikes.
Cultural history, experiencing one of the oldest stories.
Let's chill them later.
Well, you'd also find it in fucking Yakuza. That game was an anime. That dude, like, it was basically an anime game. It was insane.
Ever told and fighting literal gods in Black Myth Wukong. I'm experiencing political upheaval and a world-ending crisis in Final Fantasy 16, but every moment builds to something bigger. The stakes, the music, the sheer unrelenting spectacle. I go from trying to find the truth to fighting a dragon in space that is about to unleash a laser to destroy the world. Then we look at games like Ninja Gaiden, Resident Evil, Stellar Blade, an entire industry of gacha juggernauts unapologetically delivering cool, badass, and attractive characters.
It's because...
Well, attractive characters might be an understatement.
These games know what their target audience is. Western games, basically having a target audience is bad if your target audience is young men. And if you're making a game like this, your target audience will be young men. And young men want chicks with big tits, big swords.
No, Asmon, it's clear that you're old now. You're out of touch. Young men and middle-aged men want women with big tits, because in the middle there is still hope that you can get away with small tits if she's really nice as a person. But eventually you find out she's not nice as a person after 8 years. In my case, it was 8 years. And then you get a divorce because she doesn't have any tits. Well, my wife had tits. She still has them. They're a lot lower than they used to be. But young men and middle-aged men want big tits because in the middle there are men that are still trying to figure out women. So when you get in the middle, you just give up and you know what? Fuck it. I'll take whatever with big boobs.
And cool shit, and they don't want to be patronized by some Karen. And they don't want dialogue that sounds like HR is in the room.
Oh my God! Talking about Karen, remember the Ubisoft lady with that long teeth, blonde woman with the Asian woman in the same picture, and they both look like they really would like to suck on Yasuke's cock, at least lick it.
Young guys don't like that. They've never liked that, and they never will like that. You're not going to psyop them into liking that. It's just not going to sell, just like it hasn't.
Studios are not afraid to give players what they want, whether it's over-the-top action, ultra-stylized designs, or characters that are as powerful as they are attractive. Western games, well, they've been moving in the
Yeah, look at that shit.
opposite direction. The androgynous,
Well, the reality is, here's the thing. A lot of people play video games to get away from people like this in real life. So when you put people like this, these annoying, disagreeable,
So true.
obnoxious, like just rude people in video games, well, it's like I'm trying to get away from this, and now they're in the game too.
I guarantee you, now that I played Grand Blue Fantasy, I played most anime games that are good. I mean, I played even the bad ones. I guarantee you that this fucking character, I don't know what her name is, so this she-male, whatever the fuck it is, this uh, abomination that reflects Corinne Bush, who I really hope never gets into the gaming ever again. Even though I heard he or she was hired by some retards. But anyway, this fucking character would never fit in any group of superheroes, in any group of anime characters, in any group of any other game. She would be dissed and said, you know what, just get the fuck out of here, okay? Just get the fuck out of here with that shit. We don't care that you're non-binary. Who gives a fuck that you're non-binary? Nobody should care about your sexuality unless you're about to fuck them. If you're about to fuck me, then I want to know what kind of things you are into. If you're a woman and you want to fuck me, then it's pretty obvious that you're straight. If you're a guy that wants to fuck me, we might have some problems there, but I'm sure we can work it out and talk it out. If you're a woman that thinks she's a guy that identifies as a non-binary dragon, then you really need to tell me beforehand, listen, I want to fuck you. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I'm a straight white male and that could be a problem.
Too, why would I want to play the game?
Rated corporate safe designs that plague Western titles.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking for that. Certainly not the
Look at this fucking Jeff. It's like a fucking generical Jeff.
players. Certainly not women. I see countless 2B
She's blowing the only thing she will blow in her life.
Players, but I haven't seen a single person willingly dressing up as Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. So I guess we might see some Concord cosplays this year.
Yeah.
But it's not just the aesthetics, it's
Maybe
the
for Halloween. The skeletons.
priorities. Eastern Studios are focusing on the player experience. It seems like the only thing they actually care about. They're not obsessing over realistic sweat physics in a first-person shooter. They're making sure that the controls feel incredible. They're not waiting.
Yes. The physics of the water. Like how things happen in the water, like, oh, well, what do the birds do? Like, yeah, you can focus on that. That's great if you want to do it, like what we were talking about with Skyrim and Avowed. But if your game doesn't play well, that's priority number one.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about your stupid what?
Skyrim and Avowed.
Armor
But
core,
if your game
realistic eyebrows, thank you.
doesn't play well,
It's really funny because they start with the gameplay and they see that they don't have a fucking clue. They think that's fine. That'll do for gameplay. Okay. Now let's see what we can do with this engine and maybe take some presets and meld them together. Oh my god, I made the most realistic hair ever. No, you didn't make it, bro. It was already in the engine. You just tweaked it a bit, okay? You just relax. You didn't reinvent the fucking wheel with the hair in Velgar. Who gives a fuck about the hair? Even you know what? Okay, snowbreak dorms. Okay, you want more story than that? You can get married with Lucia in PGR. You can get married with any of the fucking characters in Snowbreak. And it's a shooter game. Nobody gives a fuck about shooting because the rest of it is so good. But if the gameplay is not good, the characters are fucking ugly, the world looks nice, but the water is pretty nice, the hair is nice, and the birds are kind of realistic, well, fuck me, I can go outside and see some birds for myself. I don't need a fucking game for that. The only reason I need a game is because I can't have a huge fucking claymore above my shoulders and slay a dragon. Because I'm not that strong and aren't any fucking dragons here. And I bet if they would rule the fucking world. Yeah. This is why I game. I don't game to see birds. What is this, a bird watching fucking game? What the fuck is that? The most boring hobby I've ever heard from. Well, except fishing, of course.
Well, that's priority number one. And you can't even get past that.
Wasting time on irrelevant tech demos, they're refining gameplay mechanics to perfection.
Yeah.
They aren't ballooning their budgets to insane proportions for the most useless things. They aren't trying to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're trying to be video games.
No, they are wasting money that is not justified. If Wukong and Ghost of Tsushima was about $60 million, $70 million to make, there is no reason for AC Shadows to cost $200 million considering it looks worse than For Honor. Yes? And I'm not talking about, it's not like For Honor because it can cut bamboo and then you get the sun that's in the sky and the light rays. And no, that's Nvidia. That's not Ubisoft, that's Nvidia. There's the engine and Nvidia or AMD. Nobody at Ubisoft invented that. They worked on it. It's a huge difference. They don't own a fucking engine. They don't even have the veterans that made the other games that were great anymore. So telling me that, that the worst setting, it doesn't matter. You got scripted movement. That Shinobi moves on the ceiling, on the roof. Scripted. You press a button and then she locks into the side and then she just walks on that perfectly. And it loses all immersion. It loses your freedom of movement. I mean, if you play Naraka Blade Point, which is a Chinese PvP battle royale game, the movement is insane in that game. It's better than in most games I played. Yeah. Not to mention the movement in Grand Blue Fantasy, for example. Not to mention the movement in Monster Hunter that feels with it has weight, it has gravity, it has all the good things, the realistic good things that are there to make you believe that sword is heavy. When you swing the great sword, that sword is heavy. You realize it's heavy because it takes 3 full seconds to lift it off the ground. Yeah, it takes 5 seconds to actually land the fucking, the true charge shot cut on it. And you're locked in the animation, but it's ridiculous. Of course, it's flying through the air with a huge sword. It's anime-style combat, which we all love. But this is so stupid because the first thing they should look at is the gameplay. Just look at the gameplay. As an investor, I find it impossible for an investor to find the proper gamer and say, hey, come have a look at this game. They're making this shit. What do you say? I think it sucks. Okay, fuck them. Give me back my 100 million. I'm not gonna invest. And then the studios just go away. I'm not sorry for somebody being in the industry that doesn't like games, doesn't like gamers, has his own agenda, has his activism, stupid shit, pouring into the games, ruining titles. I don't feel sorry for them because these jobs are not for them. It's just like the bloated hire in the US government. I'm Romanian myself. I don't give a fuck about America, to be honest. As America doesn't give a fuck about Romania. It's only selling us crap. Yeah? But I do care about people there. I do care about this fucking rat, this Asmon Gold dude. I've been watching this guy for years. He always been based. Always been a treat to watch, a treat to hear. A funny guy and very intelligent, funny guy, yes? I'm sure he has tons of chicks. I'm sure he has a lot of, at least one escort, coming to clean his room and cock and stuff. It doesn't matter. But when you bring into these studios activists and people that don't care about games, they just, oh, you got blue hair, 300 kilograms. When was the last time you scaled? Ah, you can't take your weight. You don't know your weight. Well, we need to go to a scrapyard to measure you. It's why are you there? Why are you there? I'm not into ballet, for example, and I'm not going to ballet concerts because I don't like ballet. I don't care about ballet. Maybe I can watch some chicks, stretching. No problem with that. But at the core, I don't really care for ballet. I'm not going to be a ballet instructor. And if you don't care about games, why the fuck do you develop them? Why do you care? For my job, I sell cars, for example. I love cars. I don't love all cars. I don't like that, the Pontiac Azteca. I don't like that car. I don't like Fiat Multipla very much, even if it's comfortable. I don't like most of the things Kia does. For latest Kia maybe okay, but the old Kias, I don't give a shit about them. And I don't like the new BMWs either. They look like shit. They look like Hyundai had a baby with a Kia and vomited on a Fiat or something, or a GM garbage. I don't like American cars, and not even Americans like American cars. So there are exceptions. Of course, if a turn-based developer, like the people that made Baldur's Gate, maybe they don't like shooter games. But they don't make shooter games. They make turn-based games because they like them and they know how to make them because they played them for hundreds and thousands of hours. And then they say, oh, okay, we need to tweak this one. We need to do this and that to make it better. You think that Hoyoverse didn't play Genshin and Honkai Star Rail or Impact Third? They didn't play them. They played the shit out of them. That's why the combat is so good. But if you're a developer and you send your work to Indonesia or whatever the fucking country you're sending it to be, to use slaves to make your game, that's virtue signaling like Ubisoft, and then people find out you're actually using slaves for your stupid ass games that your activists can't finish, yes? And then people are gonna cry because you're gonna lose your fucking job. You're gonna lose your job because that's what you deserve. You need to get the fuck out of the industry as soon as possible. There is no room for you. And if there is room for you, yes, then maybe tomorrow I want to be a millionaire. I wanna get into the club of millionaires and stay home and game all fucking day. How about that? No, we can't do that. Oh yeah, why? Why can't you do that? Why can an activist that doesn't like games make games? Why can't I, a non-millionaire, just stay home and rub my dick and play all day, listen to Asmon and play all day? Why? Why? Because sad fucking life. Oh no, sad fucking life. You had the luxury and time to get fat, to question your own sexuality. People go to work. They don't have time to, should I cut off my dick? Should I not cut off my dick? What the fuck is wrong with you? Go to work. Shut the fuck up. Make some money. Make a difference. But not in the gaming industry. Holy shit, don't touch that. I guarantee you people that made Velgar didn't even finish it.
Replaying.
But I tell you this. People that made the WoW 100% didn't finish it because it's broken.
Armored Core 6, and it's one of the most visually stunning games that I've played. But here's the thing. It's not chasing photorealism. It's designed in a way that tricks you to...
Bro, it's not... Armored Core is probably the best mecha game you can play, yeah? It's from software, so it doesn't matter. It's good, regardless. They don't want to be realistic. They want to make sense. And in this world, with these mechas and this all high-tech shit, it makes sense to be like this. And yes, it's a realistic, it's not, low poly anime shit. It's a realistic setting. But the movement is not realistic. There is no way a mecha can move like that unless, it has thousands and tens of thousands of horsepower or thrusters or something like that without falling apart. It needs some special grade metal not to break into pieces at each thrust. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they first make the gameplay and then they tailor the graphics and the setting around this gameplay. It's like Devil May Cry. Japanese Capcom made Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry might be probably the best in its type of game because people say like it's a Devil May Cry like game. Oh, okay. So it's not Elden Ring style. It's most gacha games are basically Devil May Cry with women. Yes, except like gacha games that wants to be more like Elden Ring, more realistic approach. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you construct the world around the gameplay you like and you want to keep. That's why Dragon Dogma had so many problems because they loved the gameplay and they tried to make it work around the world they were trying to build around it, and it didn't work very well performance-wise. It didn't go very well logistics-wise. There are gaps of low-density monsters all over the place. There are fights that are kind of stupid. But the game overall is very good. It's basically Monster Hunter open world. Not actually. Monster Hunter feels a lot better. But this is the thing. First make the gameplay be absolutely amazing and then build the world around it. What BioWare did was just throw pink and purple in the same fucking glass, drink it, vomited over the monitor some rainbows, and said, you know what, I'm gonna cut off my dick, grow my hair, wear a skirt at work, and I'm gonna make the next fucking Dragon Age game. And it's gonna be fucking gay and lame.
Feel like it is. You're so immersed in the gameplay, so locked into the experience that you don't care about environmental destruction or ray trace reflections because the game is so damn good that you don't.
Well, I'll give people a little bit of a heads up. Nobody ever cared about environmental destruction, or actually, people do like that, or like ray tracing or anything like that. This is all something that.
The ray tracing is very important for games like Stellar Blade, so you can see the flesh on. No, never mind. But environmental destruction, for example, and I have to give this to. Actually, I'm not gonna give this to EA Games. Fuck them. I'm gonna give this to DICE and Respawn. Two mini studios that I wish they would go rogue. I wish they would go by themselves and make Titanfall 3. For the love of God, just make Titanfall 3. I'm gonna buy it, and many people are gonna buy it, man. Apex is dead. Apex Legends sucks nowadays. Anyway, so in Battlefield, I think it was Battlefield 3 where the destruction was like, really destruction. I think 4 was the true destruction. You can actually tear down a skyscraper, which was fucking cool in the middle of the fucking map. You got a full-on scaled war, and then buildings collapse for suddenly. Oh my god, it's so good, and vehicles and everything. You had everything in that game. Of course, it's ruined. 2-1 4-2 Battlefield is just garbage. It doesn't matter, but destructible environment, yes, everybody likes that. Everybody likes that, especially for PvP, mass scale war games like Battlefield. Yes, or like Hell Let Loose, and there are games that I like destructible things. But there are games that I don't care about it, like Punishing Grey Raven, like Grand Blue Fantasy, like Elden Ring. Maybe Elden Ring, I do like that things break apart when I swing my claymore. It's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about it if it doesn't have a function because I'm not gonna run around and cut bamboos like Ubisoft is expecting.
This doesn't sell a game. At the bottom line, it does not sell a game. It's nice if the game has it, but it will not sell the game.
Do you think that Wukong sucked because it was an open world and it was stage-based, more or less like Monster Hunter? No, because it felt like it's an open world game with chapters. The combat was so good in Wukong. It didn't matter, man. Nothing mattered. The HUD was minimal. Wukong is one example of what people can do if they play so much fucking Dark Souls and Elden Ring. Their entire life revolves around it, and they just I want a game with our monkey man from our mythology in China, and I want the journey from the west to be implemented, Journey to the West to be implemented in a video game, and I want this Wukong dude to have some really cool moves, and it will be difficult to finish the game. I already finished Wukong twice. I'm not gonna finish it again because I have to say it, and I will say I don't like staves. I don't like to fight with the staff. I think it's stupid. I think it's just a fucking piece of wood, and you run around. Just a katana. You need a katana, man. It's either a claymore or a katana, or a big fucking axe. Like, World of Warcraft, for example, had the best axes I've ever seen in any game. Period. There is no game that comes even close to the designs of World of Warcraft. That's the end of it.
Need those things. Then I go back to Western AAA games, and what do I get? A checklist simulator, or a tutorial that assumes that I've never touched a controller before, a protagonist that will not shut up, constantly telling me what to think and what to feel, a game world that exists only to make a point, not to be explored. And their obsession with open world bloat, because why make a game feel big when you can make it look big? Western developers want to force you through a message. Eastern developers want you to lose yourself in the experience. They aren't holding your hand.
I think that's a really good point that he brings up too, is that there is a level of escapism that Western video games, and especially American video games, don't want you to have. And I feel like a lot of Western video games, it's kind of like, you know what a good example of this is that, were you guys ever in like, AP or pre-AP English class in like high school? And you would have to hear about everything, how everything was a metaphor for like slavery or something like that.
Oh, fuck, we don't have that here in East Europe. But I get what you're saying.
And like at a certain point, you just ask yourself, is this actually what the author intended? Or is this just what this dumb bitch keeps saying because she wants to have a job? I think that's where we're at. It was annoying as fuck. Yeah, it's so fucking annoying. It's like, no, not everything.
No, I think the Legendary makes a good point. But what I think is that not that the devs act like we never touched the controller before. It seems like they haven't touched the controller before, because learning how to make games is not enough to make good games. You need to play them. It's like, saying, I'm a driver instructor. I instruct rally drivers from Finland, which are the best fucking drivers in the world, and I don't know how to drive though. Whoa, wait a second. You don't know how to drive, but you instruct and make cars for rally? What, are you fucking retarded? You can't do that. It's impossible. You need to know the concept of a good gameplay. You need to know how the like Law and Crime keep saying that gaming might be addictive, and it is addictive. Of course it's addictive because it's good. Concord and Velgar will never be addictive. Will be a chore to finish. To Endymion says, I'm gonna 100% it. Shut the fuck up, you fat fuck. You're not gonna 100% a Velgar. You're not out of your fucking... Nobody has time for that. Even if it takes 40 minutes, I don't have time for that. Fuck it. I want 100% Black Desert Online. I want 100% Marvel Rivals. I want 100%, I don't know, even Genshin Impact. Holy shit. Genshin Impact has better combat than Veilguard. A fucking phone game. And I'm not gonna go at Wuthering Waves that shits on Genshin Impact by far in terms of combat. Of course, in design of the characters, like how likable they are, how I can't say that the story in Genshin was stellar, but it was better than Wuthering Waves 1.0, even if the 1.0 Genshin sucked as well. The Inazuma was just wow. But that's the thing. The devs don't have feel for the game, because to greenlight such garbage and say, yeah, you know what, I think we might have something here, bro. I think we might get rich with this one, guys. Guys, where is everybody? Okay, so that's the problem with these fucking devs. They don't really play games, and the best example is those Diablo fat devs that blue hair whale with another blue hair whale, whatever the fuck that was. They were trying to play Diablo 4 on controllers and failed miserably. They died with a barbarian, I think it was a demon hunter. I don't know what the fuck they were playing, because I haven't played Diablo 4 more than a half an hour to realize that I want to play this game. I didn't even like Path of Exile 1, so this is where I'm at. I love Path of Exile 2 though. If I would get a nice fucking hammer for a change, but I don't. I only got a 3 level plus one. Anyway, that's the problem. The devs don't play their games, and you can tell where the devs play the games. You know where? The best example I can give you with obsessive game design is Tekken King. 211 moves. How many characters do you know in a video game that has 210 fighting moves? Because I don't know when I played a lot. No, I played all from Excalibur, from any type of Street Fighter, from any type of Tekken, and at least Mortal Kombat 10 I gave it a shot, and Mortal Kombat 11 I didn't even bother with it. But most valuable games I played in terms of fighting, there is not even close. Nobody has so many moves. Period. So I don't think that these devs developed Tekken, they outsourced it to Indonesia. No, they made it themselves and they love it. And they play it probably right now.
Is a fucking metaphor. Like, sometimes people are just talking about this in a general sense.
Painfully self-important narrative filled with stiff, corporate-safe writing. They're letting you engage with a world that feels alive. Eastern games are just built different.
Or Refantasio? Well, the reason why Metaphor Refantasio is good is because they allow Luis Guillaburn to be a force to be reckoned with. Like, he is honorable. He never lies. He's strong. He's competent. Now, he might be evil, but it's not like
I want to play Refantasio.
Like it's not like he's an inferior person in a lot of ways, if that makes sense, right? Like, they're not afraid to give villains that encapsulate and incorporate that. Like, these villains play the role that real life villains in the past have played.
Oh my god, this fucking guy, this is why I like Asmongold. It's like he finds an idea that's on top of my fucking brain, but I can't find it. And then he just starts it, and boom, I have all these. My brain cell starts to connect with itself, and boom, it's like it just makes me smile. And I'm not even gay. I like women a lot. I don't like Asmon. I think he's a little rat, but he, as a personality, he's like so fucking good. He's so. It's like taking the thought of out of your brain, and the way he thinks. I think a lot of people resonates with it. And this is why the echo chamber people don't like him. I mean, if you come to a relatively coherent conclusion that you hate Asmongold from his streams and YouTube, you must be out of your mind. I mean, it has to be something wrong with you, unless you know him at a personal level, and I don't know, you went over there and the cockroach bit you, or I don't know, you ate some $2 steak that was expired. Unless that happened, there is no reason for you to hate this guy unless you're bullshitting yourself your entire life.
Historically. But they're not afraid to give those villains positive attributes.
Yes, because this is the way you write anime. Anime usually is written with, there is a MC, there is a villain. They both have their good parts, they both have their bad parts. The villain is overpowered at the start, and the MC needs to find a group or needs to find an awakening, like in Soul Leveling, a second awakening, and find the, fight and struggle to the end to overcome the villain and, be the hero. This is the Japanese formula that is going for about 30 years now, at least of my knowledge. It's at least 30 years, yes? I've been watching anime since Sailor Moon, and the same thing was there. There was the villain that had good things and bad things. And in many cases, not so many cases, but there are cases when the villain is actually not bad. It just has a different view. It just, I don't know, I need to kill people because people are the source of, like in Jujutsu Kaisen, I need to kill people because people are the source of curses, and if you take out people, you won't have curses anymore, and Jujutsu sorcerers won't die anymore because he was traumatized by losing the sorcerer, like when Gojo died and then, revived and shit like that. And this is the idea, because if you want to have a compelling story, you need both sides to have something to lose. You need both sides to have an objective that is not necessarily, I just want to kill people because I'm fucking ugly. I want to kill people. Like the Veilguard villains. You know, I played Origins, and I couldn't believe. I'm not a big Dragon Age fan, but I played Origins. I enjoyed Origins. It was a good game. When I saw Veilguard, and I said, oh, this must be an ad for some phone game or something. This can't be Dragon Age. Okay, let's see the trailer. Oh, fuck, it's over. This was a trailer for Veilguard. Holy shit. What is this shit? Why is it stage-based? Why is it so purple? Why is everybody ugly and fat? Or short? Or both? Or why they have big heads? What's going on with this? They had no fucking identity with Dragon Age. Nothing. It was just like, hey, you know how Ferraris are red? Yeah. Well, here's my Golf Volkswagen. It's Ferrari red. Well, it's still not a Ferrari. Yeah, but it's red. You know, what?
And I think that with American games, a lot of these games are afraid to give villains positive attributes because they're worried that people might like the villains.
Yeah, though God forbid people like the villain or some titties. Nobody should like anything else but fat whales with blue hair, yeah? Oh.
And Luis was fucking cool. He was so fucking cool. He was awesome.
You don't have to agree with the villain all the time, but you can admit that even, I don't know, Thanos was pretty fucking cool, yeah? Those with that fist, with what is it called, with that glove, and everything around him he looked brutal. He looked like this guy is gonna fucking kill me, you know, easily. And he wasn't a villain in his world. He wasn't a villain in his world. He just seen these things differently. Like he wasn't on the same page with Iron Man, for example. Nah, that's a problem for the Avengers.
It's the same as like that Senator Armstrong guy.
Oh, yeah, Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising.
What do you call it?
Metal Gear, bro.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Revengeance, okay.
That's it. People love Thanos. Yeah, it's just.
Oh my God!
It's such
Thanos.
a stupid perspective to have. But again, it's a perspective that's informed by 12th grade AP English.
No, you know where is a good example again? If you played Nier Automata, it has like A, B, C, D, E, 5 endings, yeah? If you play through all the endings, you get to a point and realize that A2 and the other villains are not really villains in this case, were not wrong. It was just a different side of the same coin. They were for the same cause, to survive and to bring themselves to the next generation. That was the idea. But even the good people in Nier Automata had a bit of a problem. Like 9S was obsessed with 2B, and he had a crush on her, and it was against his protocols, against his everything that he existed for. And even the good people in anime sometimes have a villain side. Like there are plenty of examples of it.
English theater students that are trying to write a story so they can indirectly own Donald Trump.
Oh my God, here we go again, bro. Every fucking video is about Donald Trump or Elon Musk. Leave these people alone to make make America great again. Sure, they're gonna make America great again. Let them do their jobs. If Elon Musk wants to go on Mars, he can go on Mars, bro. It's just gonna be rocks, but brown. But you can build something there. If Trump wants to clean America from the corrupt shit, go ahead. It's not normal for California to burn down like that because they had incompetent idiots at the fire department. It's not normal for kids to take hormones. We don't even have this in the East, in the East European. There's nothing like that. It's illegal to give kids any type of drugs. Never mind hormones. I'd rather give a kid, here, smoke some weed and relax. Go jerk off, smoke some weed, look at some porn, and relax. Don't cut off your dick. That's way, way worse than smoking weed. Because you can always stop smoking weed, but you can never reattach your dick back. You're gonna walk around with that stuff, it's like an turned inside down vagina. I don't believe that. It still looks like a lump. And it's a problem. And it might not be a problem when you're 14, because you're not using it so much. But once you're 23 and friends around you say, hey, I just fucked that chick from last night, it was great. What about you? Well, I can't fuck anything now because my parents agreed to cut off my penis when I was 14, and now I'm basically a straight man without a penis because it turns out I wasn't a woman after all. You know what happens then? What happened? Where are the doctors and everybody that agreed to cut off these kids, and not to mention to give hormones of the different sex to a child, is very bad for their health, and very bad for their development, of course. And they grow up and they look like shit. Even if they could have looked great, I know it's not the same subject, but it's so fucking stupid. It should be stopped. It should be illegal to do that. Even as a parent, it should be some sort of child abuse. Oh my god, I'm remembering this shit now.
That's it. Or Elon Musk. Or actually, why not both?
That's why they are dominant.
They're trying to write a story so they can indirectly own Donald Trump.
Oh, I don't know, man.
That's it.
The retard that made from Obsidian, that bald guy with suspenders. What the fuck was his name? Doesn't matter. He said, he's so glad he pissed off Elon Musk, ha ha ha, with his game. He did that. He did that. By the way, if somebody wants to take his job, he's gonna live in the woods. Well, guess what? Now that Avowed is having like 13,000 people playing it, you know, peak. That's like 10% of what Kingdom Come Deliverance has. You can go live in the woods now. You can start building that cabin, bro. And you know what? I can sell you some solar panels. I got them at work. My boss is gonna make you a great deal so you can have electricity and look on the internet. Maybe play a while, you know, if it works.
Or Elon Musk. Or actually, why not both?
That's why they are dominating, and that's why they're going to continue to dominate. It's going to make it harder and harder for a lot of these Western studios to be able to stay relevant. Now, Japanese games being popular isn't anything new. In many ways, Japan is what built the
first game I've ever played in my life was Japanese. It was called Street Fighter 1, and the second game I played, because the arcade was right next to it, was Ninja Commando, which was probably the best game I've ever played in my life.
Foundation of modern gaming. If it wasn't for Nintendo dragging the industry out of the gutter in 1983, well, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. But we're not just talking.
No. I need to show you this. I need to show you this. Never mind the loot stuff, okay? Rule 34 rules. Let me show you this. Ninja Commando Neo Geo. Oh my god, bro! This is it. This was it.
Ninja
Commando. Yes. Back and forth. Had like a wide laser. Yes. Bro, this game was. There were people gathering behind me that they didn't play the games, or they didn't know how to play them, but I lost so much time with these games that I knew how to play them from start to finish, you know, almost perfectly. And they would just gather up behind me drinking and, you know, hey, come on, finish the game, and then buy me another coin and finish the game again. And then I had this guy that was older than me. I was about, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. And this arcade was right next to my house, so my father would just come in and beat the shit out of me because I wasn't, you know, home again. But I had this older guy that really liked Street Fighter, but Street Fighter 2 at that point, you know, Championship Edition. And he said, you know what, I'm gonna give you a coin for each character, and I'm gonna keep giving you coins if you finish the game with each character, and I make sure nobody will challenge you, and nobody will, you know, join in, duel me. Okay, sure. I said, okay, go ahead. And I actually finished the entire game. I finished the entire game with all the characters except Bison, because with Bison I fucked up versus Sagat and I got killed. I didn't know how to play Bison. I never played Bison a lot. But the rest, yeah, sure. This game came out in, let's see, 1992. So when this game came out, I was 7 years old. It was a pretty new game when I played it. Bro, this is crazy. I mean, yeah, it's just, and there's a boss fight here. Yeah, there's a boss fight with some kind of a mecha. or a ship or something. Yeah. Yeah, let's see the boss fight. Monster Hunter. In space. No, hold more. Ah, there you go. Changes colors, you can laser. I still remember the move. Oh. Yeah, you can do this a lot faster, by the way. And he should be spamming auto attack. Yeah, it's a ship. Yeah, it's a very easy boss. Yeah, it's easy. This boss is shit. You got the ninja, you got the American Joe, and you got the Japanese waifu. Everything. This was basically Guile from Street Fighter. Anyway, just
Talking about Japan,
the difference from 92 to hardcore nowadays.
it's China, it's Korea, and beyond. Apparently, nobody took notice that 2024 featured an entire wave of Eastern studios stepping into the AAA space, shaking up the industry, and forcing Western studios to confront the reality that they're not the only game in town anymore. And I noticed this shift when I saw historically mobile studios start to step up into the AAA premium game space.
Ah yes, Stellar Blade actually had shift up only Nike Goddess of War.
Love
Victory.
this, by the way. I think this is
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Yeah, I have this game. I think they had a fighter game before this, and they had a gacha game before the fighter game. I don't think the fighter game is a gacha game though. It's just a fighter game. We can buy skins and that's all. And Grand Blue Relink is an RPG without any type of gacha. It's basically just like Monster Hunter.
it's fucking hilarious.
And it's funny because, yeah, it's fucking hilarious, Asmon. But it's also funny because out of nowhere, what's it called? The studio that makes Grand Blue Relink, Scythe Games, Scythe game, whatever. They never made a 3D RPG before like this, and they say, you know what? We love these characters so much. We want to make a game with them playing like it's Monster Hunter, with the combined ultimates, with everything. This game has stellar gameplay, even if you don't like anime. The gameplay is elite in this game. I played this, I don't know, 200 hours at least. But I do play a lot of PvP games. Usually I play online games. This is not online. This is single player. You can play a co-op, of course. But it's funny because it's coming from a company that never made this type of game before. And they just nailed it. Shift Up as well. We never made a game like this before. The only game we did was a tit simulator, because that's Nike, Goddess of Victory, is like the final boss in Gunnar Bait. Every single chick in that game has voluptuous sizes. They make you horny instantly. You don't even realize you're swiping your credit card on the fucking phone, And it had a massive success. It made more money than Stellar Blade ever will. Yeah. And then suddenly, from that 2D crap shooting phone game, you shit out Stellar Blade, which is by any means stellar. And I'm gonna play the shit out of it on PC and mod it. And we got 2B. 2B is one of my all-time favorite feminine leads in games. Everything was so tragic and epic at the same time with her. It was elite. Then you got Raiden Shogun, then you got Acheron, then you got Mei from Honkai Impact 3. I know the similarity, no problem there. But this game was made by somebody who never made a 3D RPG stage-based game before with such intense boss fights.
That not
I'm gonna play this game later.
only so this is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and you have this game, and these people that made this shitty bullshit gacha game just decided, hey, you know what?
Exactly.
What if we just made a really good game?
Exactly.
And you know what they did? They made a really good game.
Yeah, it's very
That's
good.
it.
It's very good.
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. This was
Yep.
a
If you
side
haven't
by
played
side
this,
game. Studio known
you're
for
missing
gacha
out.
games like Grand Blue Fantasy and Shadowverse. Why would they suddenly decide to make a AAA, full production, full priced game unless they knew it was a smart investment, unless they saw an area of opportunity? Turns out they did, because Grand Blue Fantasy Relink sold 1 million copies in just
That's a
11
lot.
days.
And it was $60 when it came out.
It has still continued to sell, and the players loved it. Then it happened again with Stellar Blade. Shift Up, another gotcha.
It was also very well liked by the player base. A lot of people that played it enjoyed the game.
Yes, because they had lovable characters. Not all characters are pretty, yeah. Of course, female characters are mostly pretty. And no, they are all pretty. What the fuck am I talking about? But there are different, the very different. Diversity is there, everything is there. And Stellar Blade is such a huge leap from, I just said that, it's just a huge leap from a 2D phone game to a fully fledged 3D RPG game with, Devil May Cry style combat. It's a bit wow.
A studio jumped into AAA gaming, and the result, another massive success.
Wow.
A game that sold over 1 million copies.
Just
it's likely to outsell its PlayStation numbers entirely.
I mean, look at this, and this is in game, by the way. This is how the game looks, yes. And then you get stuff like this all started. Wait a second. It's difficult to find. This all started from this. Yeah? This all started from this. It's just a chick showing her ass, and it's a 2D 90s, early 90s shooter arcade-based game. And this wasn't, the shooting wasn't the selling point. It was the waifus. I mean, look at this. You can't ask more than that as a gooner. It's like impossible. So how is the gameplay? I don't know. It's just, I'm just pressing stuff, man. I keep pressing on her thighs and nothing happening. So from this, like waifu collector stuff, everybody is horny in this game. Everybody, especially the player. They went from this to this. It's still hot, but it's a quite a game. So it's not just a phone game.
Once it actually launches on PC.
I have a feeling Stellar Blade will have a lot more sales on PC.
Yeah?
I think we all know why.
Oh man, it's gonna be so many mods that Nexus mods will ban.
Modders are going to have a field day with this one. Then a first-time Chinese studio delivers a AAA cultural...
This was the only title I ever seen a trailer to. And when I first saw Wukong years ago, I said, no fucking way a game will look like this good. There's no way. And then I saw more and more gameplay. I said, you know what? Maybe not like this, but this game will come out similar to this. And then it came out, and I didn't play anything else until I finished it. Maybe a bit of Helldivers. But it was so good from start to finish. I finished it again. But when I realized that I need to finish it 3 times to get all the passives, and I said, you know what? I can't play just with the staff. I'm sorry.
Masterpiece in Black Myth Wukong, a game that shattered Steam's concurrent player records and sold 20 million copies in 1 month. It was bold, visually stunning.
Think about that, selling 20 million.
Look, the woman, IGN. Where is IGN? Where is fucking IGN? The woman. You said there is no diversity. There is a full chapter dedicated to women, by the way, and their sisters and their moms. A full chapter, IGN. Journalist. A full chapter. I played it. It was very good, very well written. The visuals and the art between, the side, the what's it called? The drawings, cinematics, for example. It was so fucking good, bro. Especially the one with the fox. I really like that one.
Million copies in 1 month, and
visually stunning.
Think about that, selling 20 million copies in 1 month.
20 million copies in 1 month? I don't need to tell you how much is 20 million times at least $60 without shitting in your pants.
And it didn't win Game of the Year.
No, because the Game of the Year was hosted by some retards that don't care about games.
Like, it's actually... I view this as, this was outrageous.
Yes.
That happened.
Yes.
The big... For political reasons, I still believe this. You guys.
There is no room for any kind of political reasons when you judge a video game, because it has no political grounding. It doesn't care about politics at all. It's a fictional thing. It's like writing a book. Of course, it's influenced by the times you're living in and by the times what people like in that time, but it shouldn't. A game shouldn't be better because Trump is president.
Guys can call me Conspiracy Andy all you want. I think that Black Myth Wukong undeniably deserved Game of the Year.
Yes.
And the only
don't
reason
like
why
Chinese.
it didn't win
They
was
don't
for
like-
political reasons.
Yes, they don't like Chinese.
I
It's so
straight up
simple.
believe that.
They're
I
fucking
actually
stupid.
do. I'm not sorry.
Rooted in mythology, blending diverse storytelling
just the
techniques
way it
and
is.
cinematic
Hey,
cutscenes.
somebody gotta say it.
They don't like Chinese like many of my friends do. Do not like the Chinese because they are secretly infiltrating themselves globally. In America and Europe, they're already selling their cars to Europe, and I think it's great. I think they shake up the domestic markets to make better things, because China's economical invasion on Europe and America will shake the industries, especially the gaming industry. I bet there are a lot of discussions at Marvel USA, and they ask why the fuck don't we have a game like Rivals ourselves? Why did we have to, you know, rent our fucking titles and heroes to these guys at NetEase and make them have a ton of money? Why can't we do that? Because we don't have the people to do that. We don't have people that actually play games. I bet you anything that the people that made Rivals play the fucking game, because it's not an RPG you finish once. It's a game that constantly needs updates. It's a game that constantly needs balance changes, and it's a game that you want to turn into an esport. It has an internal tournament in which you can win 15, I think $14,000 or something like that, and it's just the first tournament. Later on, if the game gets popular, maybe you will get $1 million. Who knows? Who cares? Of course, ASU or Timmy or whoever, I don't know, Shroud, somebody like that will get the title and be done with it. But that's the problem, because they don't like China. They don't like Chinese. They don't like they don't like them. They just don't like them because they make them work harder, and they don't like that because they already shipped a lot of their work to China, iPhone and BMW and all kind of companies that prefer labor from China than labor from their own country because it might suck ass, I don't know. And coming back to American cars, which I drove a few of them, and holy shit, a Mustang compared to a BMW M4 is just a huge difference. I was gonna say, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But that's the problem. Fuck these Chinese. They're making all this good shit at low price. How is it possible they're making so much profit? Oh my god. And imagine, Wukong only costed $68 million. Only 60, 68, something like that. And it made 1 billion back. They made Ubisoft 10 times. Maybe 100 times. I don't know. They made a shitload of money. They can imagine the next game they're gonna come out with. Imagine that. And I think Wuchang is made by the same. Let me check. Wuchang, Fallen Feathers developer. Lenzi from Chengdu Linze Technology. Lenzi. I never heard of it. Platform developer. Chengdu. I know people in Chengdu. I work with a few. It's a quite popular place. Games, Chengdu, Chinze. 505 games, Chengdu Linje Technologies Ltd. It looks a lot like Wukong. That's why I'm asking. I thought it was the same company.
Had exhilarating combat.
I know
that just
game
kept
science
you
of
hooked.
Wukong.
It's tight linear progression and light yet meaningful customization, stripped away any necessary bloat. You just offered a
Bro,
this
I straight.
mythology, blending diverse storytelling
just the
techniques
way it
and
is.
cinematic
Hey,
cutscenes.
somebody gotta say it.
Had
Yeah, this part of the story was pretty cool.
exhilarating combat that just kept you
Yep.
hooked. It's
Not this guy.
tight linear progression.
The boss, the tiger boss. he had so many cool moves. Oh my
and
god.
light yet meaningful customization stripped away any necessary bloat. He just offered a pure content-rich
Oh my god, this guy was so annoying, man. When he turned into gold and he gets bigger.
experience that pulled you in and refused to let
And
you
this
go.
one, yeah.
And who could forget Pal World, allegedly made for under $7 million, reaching
played this.
25 million players
I
with
should play this.
15 million copies sold on Steam. A game that crystallizes
Jesus
just about
Christ.
everything players have been asking for, what they've wanted, the freedom that they've wanted. Finally, we saw the release of Marvel Rivals.
That's another great example, is that Pow World, like even now, like if I pull up Pow World at this very moment,
Yeah, it's big. It's big.
it has 60,000 people online
God,
in its last peak.
2.1 million.
And the last update they had was like months ago.
Yeah, because
Even now.
I enjoy looking at people playing Power.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's also on Game Pass? Yeah, but those numbers aren't being included on Game Pass. So the numbers are even more impressive,
Yes.
I would say.
It's 100%.
Farming onto the
Maybe
scene
even
with
better.
stylized characters, great gameplay,
it's
killer
free.
performance, non-intrusive monetization, and overall just a fun experience for players that helped the game reach over 600,000.
I don't think Concord would have topped that. I know Overwatch doesn't top this, but I highly doubt that Concord would have survived more than a week as it did. It was, took behind the shed and shot in the face and buried in the garden. But Marvel Rivals is not just better than Concord. Marvel Rivals is better than Overwatch. And I played Genji for 3,000 hours, only Genji, and I also main a couple of you like Tracer and Reinhardt. So I know what I'm talking about when you're telling me that Blizzard took away my Overwatch 1, promised me Overwatch 2 with PvE, and gave me a lesser version of Overwatch 1, dressed up as Overwatch 2 with a couple of nobodies as heroes and imbalanced game. Basically, you just play tank and don't ever die, and that's the game. So Rivals is not only better than Concord in every possible way, it's better than Overwatch. But I will say this: Genji is a lot more fun than Psylocke. So you need to work on that, Netties. Fuck! I muted this guy.
Need to do.
Million downloads across over 600,000 concurrent players on Steam with over 20 million downloads across all platforms.
Now, Marvel Rivals, what they need to do, hear me out on this. What if they had like a mode in the game where instead of fighting against like other, let's say like other heroes in Marvel, what if you fought against like monsters and it was like a dungeon or like a PvE experience?
Oh, you mean like a PvE mod?
That's right.
Well, I don't know, Blizzard. What do you think?
I feel like that would be a really, really cool idea if they added PvE content to Marvel Rivals. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Imagine if Marvel Rivals had stellar PvE content. I guess the term Diablo-like wouldn't be a problem anymore.
And maybe they gave like, certain characters like whole talent trees and
It would be the least of their fucking problems at that point.
everything. Wow. I feel like they could do it.
Maybe they should ask Blizzard and, get some pointers.
It's a great
The success
idea.
of these games, the shift is undeniable, and it's not slowing down. 2025 is already shaping up to be another massive year for Eastern developers. Monster Hunter Wilds is going to explode, potentially breaking over.
I think that the majority of this game, like, I would say, like, I mean, Japan has been dominant in the video game industry ever since the video game industry has existed in America.
No, no, Asmon, you don't get this. Japan is the gaming industry. That's what gaming comes from.
Basically. But the big difference here is that you're seeing Korean developers actually bring in, because like Korean developers have always existed in the American market, but they've been pretty much always relegated to mobile and pay to win like gacha style MMO games. And I think that
no, you're wrong here. China and Japan is more into gacha, while Korea, it doesn't care about gacha and just blatantly tells you, hey, you want to be stronger? Well, You gotta press that button where it says Pearl Shop. I mean, no, it says shop. And you buy a couple of things that will not make you stronger, but it will make you stronger in time because it will allow you to loot more. And if you loot more, you make more silver. And if you got billions of silver, you can buy off any kind of gear, which is already there on the market because there are people that farm this game a lot. It's been out for like 10 years. It's the 10-year anniversary. I'm gonna play it later on. And when you tell me that Black Desert Online is not pay to win, you're right and you're wrong. It's not pay to win in the traditional way that you just get into the shop and buy a fucking sword, a Black Star sword. No. It gives you problems and sells you the solutions like weight limit, inventory limit. It's fine if you play just one character, no problem with that. You got all towns have banks. There are plenty of towns. There are plenty of ways to store your shit. You got the warehouse, which is free, and you pretty much need to, teleport to the town. You can't really teleport uh, too often, but you got mount. You got a free mount, and you can fly around. It's pretty good. But the pay to win comes in the convenience. So it's instead of selling me that shit, you give me the means to buy that shit. Indirectly. Of course I have to farm. Of course I have to play the game. But there are zones where I can make tons of money without even stressing. You take a Dracania and just delete half of the map, and you get a lot of money, and you buy your shit. So that's the aspect of pay to win for Black Desert Online. It's not direct; it's indirect by selling you convenience and life improvements.
That now they're developing games that are much larger in scope. Besides that, I think that Kazan First Berserker is one example of that. But the big one, honestly, the 80% here is China. China are
China is getting better and better at making these anime games. I think it pretty much started with Honkai Impact Third, which was first, like the real gacha game. I mean, in terms of story and combat, and for its time, I played it on the phone first time, and it was pretty easy to play. But I was surprised that they were so well animated, and it was so much fun to play it. And the story started off pretty good. It's one of the gacha games that gets you into the story quite early, and there are a lot of stakes quite early, and it's a very good story. They can make an anime out of it easily. Genshin was already a PC game, so they pretty much had the money to do it because Honkai Impact Third gave them a lot of money, and Genshin Impact costed a lot of money, even in their terms. It was about $200 million, something like that, to make, and with all the marketing and all the drip and the expansions, and from 1.0 we're now at 5.4, which is probably the worst time for Genshin at the moment. But it started off pretty much a bunch of shit and Honkai Impact Third, and then Honkai Impact Third staled a bit. Then Genshin Impact came out, Punishing Grey Raven came out. Not many people heard of it, but once people heard of it, it went global. I think 2 or 3 years ago, it went global. I played it on a Chinese version. A friend of mine lent me his account to play with VPN. It wasn't the best experience, but I got a feel of the game, and it was very hard for a gacha game. It was punishing indeed. But from that, Kuro Games, for example, evolved into Wuthering Waves, which was a very good game to be honest. But the problem is that there were a ton of filler, a ton of garbage, of gacha garbage, like Tower of Fantasy, which it was a very good game at the core. The idea was pretty good, and it had a lot of stuff. But because it had a lot of stuff, none of it, uh, master of none, and I don't know the expression. That's not my not my native language, but that's the idea. They did everything, but they did nothing right. It was just half-assed. Everything was half-assed. And I waited for a few updates, but they never came. It just popped out more waifus and more money. Give us more money. Okay, whatever. But the game was fun overall. I synced a couple of 100 hours in it. It was as a free-to-play player and the solo player, it was no problem. You can solo play that game easily. You don't need to kill everything and go in parties. If you go alone, it's a lot easier to finish. So this evolvement, there were a lot of garbage, and then eventually all this garbage disappeared, failed, and these people came back with something better and better, and they copied Genshin a bit, and copied PGR a bit, and they copied this and they copied that, like Duet Noir or whatever that new gacha is called. It's like Warframe with PGR, with stage base, with everything. So every developer has its own touch on the, like Aether Gazer has its own touch compared to Zenless Zone Zero has its own spin, and then you get PGR, which is a lot more colder. It's a lot more adult type of gacha. Zenless is more, a kid-like. It's more of a hey 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 funny joke shit. While Aether Gazer tries to be both. It's PGR is just drama. It's constantly drama. It's a fucking apocalypse. It's just like the Nier Automata. It's a 2000. It's not 2025. It's 10,918 after the apocalypse, and everything is shit. So everything is dire and everything is destroyed. Of course, you're not gonna have kids running around in the school and having fun. No, it's gonna be a desolate place with a lot of. I'm drifting off with this one, but that's the point. They've evolved into something better and better and better, and they made a lot of money, so they had the budget for it. But for example, Punishing still has the best combat, even if Zenless Zone Zero looks better in terms of graphics and in terms of animations. PGR is the best, you know, combat in gacha games at the moment. It's even better than Wuthering Waves. But I understand the limitations in Wuthering Waves since it's a open world game. You can't really have. Even if I remember well, Tower of Fantasy had the Matrix mode in open world, just that made the sphere around the area where it's in slow motion, and that was a pretty clever idea, and it was very good mechanic. It got me addicted to play. There was a lot of cool plays you could make in Tower of Fantasy if you timed your dodges and abilities correctly. But it was kind of boring at some point. But that's the idea what I'm trying to make. Zenless Zone Zero might be a better new game, but in terms of combat, it's not even close to PGR. And it's just because of the abilities. Not only because of the abilities. Okay, the switch, skill, everything, pretty spectacular, but it gets boring very fast. It's a game that you play 1 hour a day.
Are the ones that are building and making the really big games now. And the other big reason for it, I'm going to be honest, you want to talk about real soft power? How about having everybody in the fucking world think that your mythology is one of the best games that came out this year? That's real soft power, not a transsexual Sesame Street play in Iraq.
Oh my god, this was so good.
Mythology is one of the best games that came out this year. I'm going to be honest, you want to talk about real soft power?
They didn't want Wukong to win because it would have praised China's mythology, and it would have praised China themselves for having such a cool, which is a cool mythology, by the way. I'm Romanian, and our mythology, besides of Vlad Țepeș, the Impaler, there's nothing interesting here. But at least we're not Lebanon, or I don't know what kind of a fucking third world country that doesn't have any cool shit in it. We're not even close to Japan, who for some reason Ubisoft keeps messing up. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with. They're French. That's the problem. So yeah, they're French. They said, do this game. No, we're gonna do something else. Yeah, we're gonna do. Oui. Parlez-vous, me talking now. We're gonna have a sandwich now, everybody. We're gonna talk about genders and pronouns for a week. We're gonna have a few DEI meetings, and if we have time left, we're gonna talk about Assassin's Creed Shadow, the title that will fucking bury us, okay? While we outsource all the hard work to Indonesian slavery. Okay? Okay, guys. Please start with your sandwiches. This is what I mean when I say French.
How about having everybody in the fucking world think that your mythology is one of the best games that came out this year? That's real soft power, not a transsexual Sesame Street play in Iraq.
Yeah.
That's real soft power.
1 million concurrent players on Steam. I could easily see it. I mean, Monster Hunter World, quintupled engagement across the entire franchise, so there's no telling.
Now, to be fair, Monster Hunter Rise was pretty close because Iceborne sucks. I'm gonna say I played Iceborne. It's not great. It's nice, but it has not even close the impact it had like Monster Hunter World.
We take all of the money from USAID, we give it to...
I think I played Monster Hunter Unite on PlayStation, and it was nice, but I lost my mind at the first... I think I killed about 10 or 10 bosses, something like that, which were pretty easy. And then I lost my shit to one of the bosses and just, completely destroyed my controller.
Rockstar to make a game of the 12 Trials of Hercules.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, inhale all the fucking air.
That's right. That would be insane.
How far this new entry can go. Players are already excited for Phantom Blade Zero, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers.
Phantom Blade Zero is the most anticipated game for me. It said it will have AI as difficulty and it will adapt to your skill, which I find insane. And I would fucking play this game all day just to prove to the AI that there is no pattern, you piece of shit. I'm gonna beat you no matter what.
Light of Motrium and Tides of Annihilation, all made by Chinese studios stepping up to steal the show. And after
look at this, just look at this combat, man. Look at this combat, bro.
All made by Chinese studios stepping up to steal the show. And after seeing all these successes and the engagement that I'm seeing from the players, how excited people are for some of these games that are coming out, I think that Eastern studios have figured out what Western gaming has refused to accept. That the layoffs, the cancellations, the flops aren't because gaming is dying. Players aren't leaving games, they're leaving Western games. They're seeing an industry that's at war with its own.
To be fair, I've been playing Asian games for a while now, before this drama happened.
Audience, they see the greed.
I bought Grand Blue Fantasy the day it came out, and I killed the behemoth, the proto behemoth, in 2 weeks.
A really good way of putting it. Yeah, at war with its own audience. That's exactly what it is. Yep.
It's just like food. It doesn't matter if it gets you fat or not. It doesn't matter if it's, broccoli or healthy or not. If it's good, it's good. You're gonna eat it, you're gonna buy it. If it sucks, you will never talk about it besides the fact that it sucks.
When did propaganda get changed to soft power? It never did. It's just a new definition.
Yes.
Arrogance and the creative bankruptcy, and they're stepping in to
explode.
I'll take what Western studios have abandoned.
I'm buying it
and
right
I think
now.
that the industry is threatened by this,
Always
and they
has
should
been.
be, to be honest with you. I mean, look at the way that games media reacted to some of these releases, because while Stellar Blade reviewed relatively well, it wasn't without controversy. Heck, they actually had to write an article to tell everybody, why is Stellar Blade so controversial? Are attractive characters unrealistic?
They are for
fat blue-haired whale cunts. It is unrealistic because they can't imagine not to stuff 3 burgers per minute in their faces.
women in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Female beauty standards in gaming need to evolve. I'm
actually,
sorry, but saying...
I'm sorry, whores actually have sex. I'm sorry. I mean fat whales. No, whales have sex too. I mean just 200 pounds of chewed bubblegum.
Saying that beauty standards need to evolve is like saying that gravity needs to be more inclusive. You can...
Oh my god, bro. That was even worse than I said. He killed me. Oh.
Well, to be fair, with a lot of the people saying beauty standards need to evolve, they also probably also have a problem with gravity. If you know what I mean.
Beauty standards don't need to evolve. You need to lose weight.
Try to change reality all you want, but people will always be drawn to what they find appealing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
And then came Black Myth
just
Wukong,
ridiculous.
and that's what they
That's why
absolutely lost
they
it.
hate
Developers not responding.
That's why high maintenance, expensive luxury escorts are hot as hell. and they're very well maintained by people with money. And that's why the unattractive fatties are lined up at the bus station every morning. Some of the pretty ones have principles and they don't do that, but most of them do. I mean, the pretty ones, not the boys at the station.
Responding to the accusations that they made up, not responding to the.
What about this? Like, well, we made up a bunch of stuff about you. Aren't you going to address this and come to the table and
No.
you know, play the game that we've created that you lose in? Like, why aren't you playing our game that you lose in? Wait a minute, but I set the chessboard up so I can checkmate you. Why don't you want to play the game? You can't just ignore us. No, you can't sell 20 million copies. What are you doing?
Their headquarters being vandalized because of the accusations they made, not answering questions about inclusivity in a game about a monkey. That's when it became painfully clear. The industry is...
So, listen, you are a man-monkey that finds a transformed Asian god, that it's a Chinese god, that it's actually a man that transformed into a rat to run away from his wife and children. One of his wives is actually a spider, and you're talking about lack of diversity? Are you fucking retarded? Yeah, they are fucking retarded. It's not a question.
The worst thing that was painfully clear about that is the self-report of all the developers saying that all the reviewers saying that there were no women in the game. All you did is self-report that you didn't even finish the game. You played.
No. It's not that you didn't even finish the game. You didn't even pass chapter 1. Because in chapter 2 you already talked to women and tried to solve their family problems, as I remember. Or maybe it's chapter 3, but the game has 6 chapters. So they were not even halfway through and you're already reviewing it. What the fuck? Not that recently I found out that IGN makes game reviews. I thought they just post what other users do, you know. I thought it was just a game trailer. I never visited IGN.com. I thought it only existed on YouTube because I don't give a shit about them. I just looked at IGN game trailers and that's it.
Through the first chapter or two, you never finished the game because you'd know that the entire 4th chapter is all about women.
4th chapter, okay.
It's not even true.
Terrified of these rising Korean and Chinese studios because they can't control them, so they attack them instead. The only controversy surrounding these games was fabricated by media outlets desperately trying to reinforce their own narrative and their own worldviews. And it became laughably obvious once reviews started rolling in for Black Myth Wukong with multiple critics.
I think it's much better to try refer to your worldviews when the world is actually listening to you, not just some YouTubers.
Slamming the game.
Not even Game Science does want to talk to you. Holy shit. The people that made the game don't want to talk to you, man. It's the position you're in as a journalist. It's like a news reporter coming to a courtroom and say, would you like a policeman will come out and say, would you like to have a few words with us about the case? And the policeman will just look at her and go past her and just completely ignore the bitch. The same thing happened to these journalists.
Aim for a lack of female characters and diversity, not realizing.
Dude, bro, like, if you are a reviewer, you're doing that. Like, again, bro, like, I don't know, like, CERN or, like, NASA needs to hire these people because somehow these games journalists have managed to take their credibility and divide it by 0. Physically impossible. They've broken the limits.
I think that women played a key role, Act 3 and beyond.
Yeah.
I brought this up before. I think I showed it off in one of my last videos, but it still blows my mind that Inverse would straight up call anyone who bought the game Chinese nationalists and anti-woke.
Wait, what? Black Myth Wukong isn't even good, but that won't stop Chinese nationalist and anti-woke sales?
What the fuck is that?
It isn't even good.
It's not even... I didn't play it, bro. It's obvious you didn't play it.
Also, like...
It's not good. What the fuck is that accusation?
Nowhere in the game did it say China was good.
No, it didn't even mention China at all.
The only thing that they said at all...
China doesn't exist in Wukong. It's the land, it's not formed as a state. It's so back in history, it's ridiculous. I don't think dinosaurs were on Earth when Wukong happened.
All that was a realistic, like, relevance is that apparently there was that statue, like the guy, the head.
The Earth was surrounded by dragons and gods themselves roaming, a Buddha himself, and the fucking fox girls and spider women and huge colossal men, barbaric men, godlike, like spectral. People would have noticed that in the history of China.
Headless guy with that would do the thing in chapter 2. Apparently that statue is real, and apparently like Britain or somebody like that had the head of the statue, and they just recently gave it back to China.
Why the fuck
so
would they have
the
that?
Rat King running around with the fucking head, and to be fair,
damn, they made a yes.
And to be fair,
they got it back.
They were being rats. That's not their fucking head. That's not their statue. They should have given it back, and they did.
Yeah, they should.
That's good. It was amazing.
It's a hidden message there. Nice.
Thinking,
I didn't know
look
that.
how detached from reality media has become.
Yes.
Fun action game, no political messaging, monkey with the big stick go bonk. Yeah, that's fascist. This is about an industry that is panicking. Western publishers and media have spent the last decade trying to dictate what players should want, and now it's backfiring. Eastern studios aren't arguing with their audience. They're just giving them what they want. Hell, I just saw that Marvel Rivals had planned to do mid-season rank resets. The players said no, and Marvel Rivals just said, okay, that's fine. I think that's what a lot of the industry has gotten away from, not what games should be about.
Usually when they do a rank reset, for me, it doesn't really matter.
For me neither.
Not what games should be, but who games are for.
Yeah.
Eastern studios, pretty much across the board, are just doing a better job at recognizing what players want and are giving it to them. That's what you need to do to succeed. A lot of Western developers and media.
Why would you talk to people that don't play games about selling games? Like going to fat people with salads. I don't know, why would you do that?
Are just so caught up.
You just look at what people want and then you give them the thing that they want. I know, like how could
wow, it's so good.
Imagine your job is that easy and you just keep messing it up. How do you keep messing that up? I feel like it's pretty easy, isn't it?
I would be very fucking
in today's
worried
events
if I'm
and politics that they're forgetting that players are playing games to escape from that.
Probably
Eastern games are thriving because they're not chasing trends or politics. They're chasing timeless experiences. They're crafting worlds that players want to revisit years from now.
Yes.
Not just ones that are going to give you Twitter engagement for a few weeks before fading into irrelevance.
Yeah.
Just the topical nature of Western games is already a death sentence. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, I played Borderlands 3 a few years ago, and the entire time I was playing it, I was like, dude, nobody's going to remember any of these pop culture references, any of these cringe jokes or anything like that, because it was just so modern day. It was so today for that game when it released, and I'm like, people aren't gonna.
You know who makes a lot of these like inside jokes and everything, and like some of it is okay because it's kind of like it's a parody of itself, like Deadpool. But do you know who does it? Fat, boring, lame millennials with Funko Pops.
Yes.
On antidepressants.
Yes. Who haven't had sex.
That's who it is.
Since their mother gave birth.
That is your enemy.
Remember this stuff.
No,
I was thinking about Dragon Age the Veilguard. Do you think 20 years from now somebody's going to pick up that game and go, what's this about? What are they even talking about in this? Eastern studios have just been so much more.
That's actually a good question. Yeah. What is non-binary going to look like in 20 years?
Tell you what, in 20 years, not in 20 years, in 2 years from now, nobody's going to play Veilguard or talk about it. Not in a good way, at least.
Yeah, I wonder, because that's crazy to think about it. Oh man. Wow.
More consistent. They don't have any of that extra bullshit that's in there. We just see the normal complaints from them. I think that's another thing to think about as well. When you think about some of these Eastern studios, the vast majority of controversy that surrounds them is the normal stuff. Day one performance, patches, expansion content, microtransactions. I want to go back to those days, man. I'm getting sick and tired of it.
Yeah, you know what? It's 8 o'clock. Tomorrow I'm working, so it's gaming time. Enough Asmon lol. I love this guy, but gaming is calling, bro. So let's get some epilepsy.